61 confirmed cases of PAM and 19 deaths, with many of these deaths being reported in the past few weeks. State Health Minister Veena George has said Kerala is grappling with a serious public health challenge, and the infections previously linked to clusters in districts like Malappuram and other areas are now appearing sporadically across the state, and patients range from a 3-month-old infant to a 91-year-old. She added, and I quote, "Unlike last year, we are not seeing clusters linked to a single water source. These are single isolated cases, and this has complicated our epidemiological investigations," unquote. Now let's take a closer look at what exactly the disease is, and I'll be going over to the big wall over there, and I'll be talking more in details in terms of this when we're talking about this brain-eating amoeba, what exactly this is, further details regarding this, how it spreads, and the root cause of this, because this is something that has been concerning Kerala for quite some time. Now let's talk about what exactly this is. A primary amoebic meningoencephalitis is a rare infection of the brain. So that's the breakdown of exactly what this is, this brain-eating amoeba. And when we talk about what exactly is the cause of it, caused by Naegleria fowleri, a microscopic organism found in warm fresh water and soil. Popularly known as brain-eating amoeba, it impacts the central nervous system. So that's exactly where it hits, the nervous system, and it invades brain tissue and causes rapid inflammation, often leading to death within days. So that's a very tragic detail to learn about. Infections occurs when water containing the amoeba enters the nose. So it enters through the nose, which leads to the nervous system, and usually occurs after swimming, diving or bathing or untreated fresh water. So how does it happen? That's exactly how it happens. So those are the details concerning this so-called brain-eating amoeba. And how does it happen? Amoeba travels along the olfactory nerves, crosses the base of the skull and reaches the brain. So that's exactly when we're talking about how exactly does this happen, that's how it happens. And it thrives in stagnant fresh water such as ponds, lakes, rivers. That's why we're talking about it in these fresh waters, in ponds. This is where it thrives in. And also detected in poorly maintained swimming pools and inadequately chlorinated household tanks as well. So not just outside, it's something that can prevail inside home as well. And most often seen in children, teenagers and young adults. This is something that affects the young more than the elderly, is what we are getting to know. And what exactly are the symptoms? Symptoms resemble those of bacterial meningitis, making diagnosis difficult as well. So when we're talking about what are the symptoms, those are the symptoms. Now let's get into more about these symptoms. First sign is headache, fever, nausea and vomiting. And as infection advances, stiff neck, confusion, when we're talking about seizures as well, hallucinations, loss of balance, eventually coma as well. That's the worst case scenario. It could also lead to coma as well. And when we're talking about symptoms, again, typically appear between 1 and 9 days after exposure, may develop acutely within hours as well. We know for a fact that it is something that can cause death within some days. And in terms of the symptoms, CDC warns most patients die within 1 to 18 days after symptoms begin. So that's what we're talking about. Within a couple of days, it could be from 1 to 18 days that the effects take over. What are the precautions? Avoid swimming or bathing in untreated or stagnant fresh water bodies. So this is something that you have to take into consideration when you want to avoid a brain-eating amoeba. And also use nose clips or keep head above water while swimming in fresh water. So one of the primary region where it enters through is nose. So that's the major area that you should be protecting yourself from. Or for nasal rinsings as well, use only boiled and cooled and also distilled or sterile water. So obviously the water should be treated, so it ensures that you are not, the infection doesn't travel through you. And ensure swimming pools, wells and household tanks are regularly cleaned and chlorinated. So obviously this happens in stagnant water, so this is something, a precaution that you have to take so it doesn't spread. And avoid exposing open wounds to untreated water or soil, because that's something that is really, that is something that where you feel is the most prominent your body could be. It's a very vulnerable part if you leave it open, the open wound. So again, those are the details we're talking about. What exactly this brain eating amoeba is, what are the precautions one should take, what are the symptoms that one can detect.